Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Radical Geek YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up that everything's working, but I see that Let's Get Basted. Renee has joined us, and Carrie is here, bringing on the fantastic puns. And Glenda is here, pooping it. Hey, good evening. And Gigi's here. Let's see. Oh, and Gigi, you won our frother, so I did get that out in the mail on Friday. So hopefully you are getting it real soon if you haven't already. Well, if I went out on Friday, probably not. But I see Jen is here, and the warden is here. So more people will join us. Sharon is here. Great. Good evening. Good evening. And I know things are a little washed out this evening. I had to reboot at the last second. It was being weird. So of course it was. You know, it's just the way it goes. So I'm going to do a few things right at first. I've got a pot of simmering water, and we're going to use that to poach an egg. So the first thing I'm going to do is take like 1/8 of a cup of white vinegar and add it in and let that warm up. The next thing I'm going to do is talk to you about the coffee. And I see that Marianne and Heath have joined us. Good evening. Good evening. So I was hoping to have a new device here, but shipping did not work out the way we were all hoping. So I'm going to use my standard V60, but all right. So you guys might remember Roasty Buds. They made that green chili coffee. It was promised hatch green chili, and I didn't like it because it was only spice and not the hatch flavor that I wanted. But this is their regular coffee, the classic Colombian coffee. And so I want to give the company a fair shake. And so I just ground up some beans over here. I will tell you, it smells vaguely grassy. So we'll see. It's a medium roast classic Colombian. So I did a standard 3 grind on it. We're going to use the V60. And let's see. Can they redeem themselves with this? I will tell you that I did inquire about their roasting methods and their bean source and did not really hear back. I did read, I believe that they've got some local sourcing going on, but I don't really know how that works out for 100% Colombian coffee. So, I don't know. But I'm always trying to be open-minded. And so I thought we should try their plain coffee because just because I didn't enjoy their spicy coffee doesn't mean their regular coffee won't be delicious. So let's go ahead and get that rolling, and then we can go ahead and get the egg poaching because we have a lot of things to do here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the eggs Royale. So I guess I should put the coffee in first before I put my water. Grab that off the grinder. Give me a minute. And I did prep my brewer here with some hot water to moisten the filter. Sorry, Renee. It is just the proper word. And let's get my coffee in here. And we will do the standard bloom. My hole down in the middle of the coffee. I will be able to do another brew with this. All right, so I put a little hole right in here. And you just pour. We're only going to do enough to do a bloom. Boom. I've got a little layer of the water just floating over the top, so we'll get that 30 seconds. Let's see. Lots of hellos back and forth. Let's see. Oh, Sharon said the lighting looks good tonight. Great. I struggle with the lighting, as always. I don't know. It's just not, I don't have the right studio for it, so everything's a challenge. Plus, I have big nerd glasses, and I have not really figured out how to make them not reflective like TV does. But it is what it is. And with the orange cloth, I like that we can see things, so that's good. I love that. Oh, and Brenda says maybe the coffee sourced from Columbia, Ohio. Yeah, it's actually, I believe, a Texas coffee, but I'm not 100%. I have to look it up again. So, like I said, we'll bloom in it for about 30 seconds. Oh, and let get base and wet works too. Yes, it does. I don't always remember that. Hey, good evening, Rickwin. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, oh, and Carrie says he can see everything as well. That's excellent. So while I am waiting for this to bloom and then to start the actual brewing, I'm going to tell you, I made an egg white bun, but I made it mini-sized to be like an English muffin. I kind of wanted to bring it up close to the camera and show you guys the texture, but I've shown it a lot on my regular videos. And down here in the studio, there's a light right behind the camera, so it just becomes like a glowing globe. So, but I just really, they're just the mini size. It's the exact same egg white bread as always. This is the BBBE version. So it's just the egg whites, I whip them real stiff, and then I use some egg white protein powder to further sturdify. I'm going to make up a word there. To sturdy up the egg whites. And then I take the egg yolks and I whip in some melted butter. And then I fold the yolks into the egg whites and bake. So is it as great as the Indigo Neely's Next Level Butter Bread? No. We have compromised because that's too many ingredients that we're not having yet. So, however, I'm just going to tell you, it's not bad. It's very handy. So I am not upset or displeased with it at all. I love Carrie on all your jokes. They give me life some days. They're fantastic. So, oh, and Rickwin says the lighting's a lot better. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. Hopefully next week it holds, but can I just tell you, if I change nothing, the next week I come and it's all completely screwed up. Today was like, it was like crazy, so who knows. So to make our sauce, it's a hollandaise, however, with some differences because this is eggs Royale. And so while it's still the same sauce, there's a little bit of difference in the technique. I have 4 egg yolks. I have my lemon juice and salt and butter. Now, we've made hollandaise before, and in those, you saw me use melted butter that had been cooled down. You don't want it bubbly ever. But today, we have solid butter. There are reasons for that, and we'll talk about it as I am whisking my life away. So, I'm going to get this ready to start with the first brew. Again, we pour and swirl, pour and swirl. And we just let that go for a second, let it hold for a moment. We'll give that a couple minutes before we let it start the drawdown, and then we will top off with a little more of the hot water. And so, let's see. Okay, more hellos back and forth and some jokes. And let's see. Oh, and that's right. Renee's asking about Jen's hair. Yeah, I'm curious about that. I'd love to hear about how it's going. If the curl gel helped at all, or if any of the other products. I do think that the cut was super cute, and I'm sorry that the hairdresser cut too much of it off. I usually have the other problem where they don't cut enough of it off. So. And I was wishing so hard that I had a haircut before I got my new piercings because it was already irritatingly long right around the ears. And now it's ever so lightly brushing against a couple of the piercings that are right at the edge. And it is so irritating and annoying. So, but of course I can't go get it cut because I can't have loose hair falling all over my fresh piercings. Nor can I have people be touching it. Even though the person who cuts my hair is an awesome close friend of mine and just amazing. Listen, I can't even sleep proper. I have to sleep facing the wrong way because I have to sleep on the wrong side. Oh, and being asked how my new piercings are. They are good. They are still very tender. Industrial piercing is the one well, when you get the ear curation, they limit how many piercings you can get at a time, and any reputable tattoo and piercing venue will limit how many piercings you can get at once. There are a lot of reasons for that, but mostly the reason is for your body gets very stressed as it's trying to heal. And so if you get too many piercings at once, you're more prone to infection, especially if it's in a smaller location. So they limit that. And I'm glad, but I did choose to get the industrial as one of the first ones because it's a hard to heal piercing. It's going to take a long time before it's good to go. So while I still have more to get, they will wait probably until like maybe even summertime before I get them, even though I'm like, I'd like them tomorrow. And I actually thought the industrial one would be the tender piece, because it is still bleeding a little bit. It'll bleed for 2 to 3 days. But as it turns out, yeah, so that's fine. It actually isn't as hurting as much as the one that shouldn't hurt at all, which is just like very pinchy and is what it is. So let's see what we've got here. Oh, let's see. Carrie said, it's someone on the Mighty Networks. Say they encourage them to experiment on themselves. Wow, that's nice with the no coffee journey. That's great. Speaking of coffee, I'm going to push the button and let the drawdown start. I will tell you this, same grind I always use, but this drawdown is really fast. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that's a very, very speedy, and it should not be quite that fast. So, but we'll go ahead and get the little second round here. And, well, you can't necessarily see it on the camera because the coloration is subtle and it'll look pretty good. I will tell you, it looks pretty light. So, I don't know. Oops. So, I don't know. That's all right, though. None of those things mean it will be a bad cup of coffee. It's just different. Let me get in here. I'm just giving it a good smell. It doesn't smell bad, but it does have that vegetable, grassy leaning sort of bent to it. So I think if you like a lighter roast, from the smell and the visual cues on it, I'm going to haphazard a guess that you might like this Roasty Buds quite a bit. However, if you are a strong, sturdy, bitter-leaning coffee drinker, this may not be your cup. Weirdly, I did a bunch of fast drawdown, and now it's having a little bit of a stall. So, there it's going. Okay. But yeah, it really suddenly just slowed down a whole bunch here near the end. There's just a little poodle of water on top, so that's fine. It is starting to darken up a little bit, so there's hope as it rests and breathes. We'll cross our fingers. I have hopes. I do usually like Colombian coffee, so come on, Roasty Buds, come through for me. So let's talk about this. Let's get our egg poached. So now that the vinegar has had time to do its thing, sorry about that, and it's come to a it's just barely a simmer. There's bubbles, but it's not boiling. I'm going to take my slotted spoon, and I've got my single egg. I have 2 pieces. Normally you do 2 eggs, but I'm not hungry enough for 2 eggs because I'm making a metric ton of sauce. I love hollandaise, all versions of it. So I'm only doing 1 egg. It will just have to be what it is. So the other thing that I have is a plate with a paper towel on it. That's where we put our poached egg to rest. Yes, you rest your poached eggs. You don't want all that water dripping onto your foods. And plus we have to make our sauce. So I'm going to give this a stir, the vinegar water. And you just wait, you get yourself a nice little vortex going. You really want that. You want that nice little vortex because it helps the vinegar surround your egg and bring all those egg whites together. And a lot of people will tell you you have to have the vinegar or you have to have the acid, and then other people will tell you you should never do such things, it's cheating, and you don't need it to make a good poached egg. Practice makes perfect, and do what works for you. If you hate the little slight vinegar in the egg, don't do it. But if it works for you, and it does work for me, I like it. I like the slightly firmer texture, and I like the way it pulls it together. So you don't have to stir it this much. I just got busy talking. Let's throw it. Let's gently just drop the egg in. And we're good. And now we just give it the 3 minutes or so. It's not as floaty as I would like it to be, but that's all right. We just leave it. So in a minute, I'm going to reach into there, scoop it, and give it a little bit of a turn. So let's see, what do we got here? 49. Okay, so we'll give it it's 3 minutes to cook. You don't want to overcook it, and you kind of use your judgment as to how much doneness you want. When you get in there and you give it a little bit of a rotate, you'll be able to see if the whites are getting cooked off enough for you. Because if you are like me and you don't like runny white, you want to make sure that you sometimes need to give it extra time. One of these days, I'm going to get that new camera that I keep saying I would like to have so that I can do a little window. I wish you could see the close-up. The egg is like in a perfect sphere. So the vinegar has done its job and kept it together. I don't have striations of yolk of the whites flying everywhere. It's all in one spot. And that is the reason for the vinegar. Let me take this off. It has done its thing. I'm going to go ahead and pour it into my cup. Give it every opportunity. Spill some on my cloth, of course. We want to make sure that we get a little aeration in there so it has every opportunity to do everything you want coffee to do to be successful. I spilled coffee on my mouse, so let me just wipe that off a little. All right, there we are. So now we're going to wait on this egg. I'm going to just give it a little bit. Make sure it's not sticking to the bottom. It's good. And give it one little flip over so that's my personal preference. So, and that's my preference, to give it a little bit of flip over. Most people don't do that, but I find that I don't get, that I don't have snotty white if I give it that, at least that turn. So let me see what we've got here. Oh, Carrie says there's no horses in the coffee since it had a stall. Let's see. Oh, Carrie can't see my poaching license. Oh, well, it is what it is. Let's see. Rickwin said something funny and I missed it, but that's okay. Oh, and the Warren says she's very full. They had leftover pork tenderloin and cabbage au gratin. Oh, I love cabbage au gratin. That is one of my favorite dishes. It is so good. Oh, and Jackie's here making chaffles tonight. So they might be in and out of the chat. That's fine. That's good. I haven't had a chaffle in a long time. I'm looking forward to it. All right, here, let's find out. Oh, I'm just saying, no, I'm going to drink it because I want my coffee. But, ugh, this is not a delicious coffee. My water is too hot, so let me turn it down just a smidge. And my egg is done. So now we just scoop it out. So Roasty Buds done me wrong on 2 coffees in a row. All right, so now I just take my egg, which I may have overcooked just a smidge. Nope, it's just right. I wish that I could show it to you because it's unfortunately with the light being right there, like the whole thing is glowing, but it is just perfect. It's too hot or I would hold it. And maybe I will in a little bit. But I'll set the egg aside. And now we can start our sauce. But first of all, let's see what else we've got in here. I should keep chatting. I look forward to that. Oh, and Sharon was finishing dinner. What was for dinner, Sharon? Share with us. Oh, and Carrie had gingerbread keto chow for breakfast today for church, and then had 4 hamburger patties. Oh, and liver, and roast, and egg yolks. My goodness. That's a lot of variety. Nice. The gingerbread keto chow is one of my favorites. I like them. I like it as waffles, though. It makes amazing waffles. Let's see. Oh, and Mary says hey, first of all, hi, Mary. It's good to see you. And then Mary says that her dad made poached eggs for her every Saturday morning. The whites cooked to perfection while yolk still soft is an art. But now you see exactly how it's done. You just keep that lightly simmering. And I have confidence that you all can do that. So, and Jen was playing Uno. Uno, So let's see. Oh, and Sharon had, it was chicken wings. Nice. I love chicken wings, and I cannot wait until we do chicken for my reintroduction, but it's going to be a little bit down the pike. I'm going to do pork first. But also, I'm doing dark meat chicken first, well before, and then I don't know when we'll do white meat chicken. And let's see. Oh, Renee says breakfast this morning was a bit as far as the effort, but it was tasty. Yeah, so speaking of which, let's get this rolling. So I'm going to take my egg yolks first, and I'm going to add them to my mixing bowl. I've already beaten them a little to kind of just help it along. And then to your egg yolks, just set that aside, we add our citrus. You can use lemon juice, you can use lime juice if you like, whatever. And you can also add other things to this, but today we're being very classical. And you add your salt to your liking. Let me just stack up my dishes to be tidy. And I'm going to set that spatula to the side. And we're going to start whisking. I have kept my water over here at that light simmer. But what happens when you add the citrus to the egg yolks is that they do loosen back up. But that's okay, because we're going to bring it over here, and that's when we're going to do the light cook of it, and you keep whisking to keep it from scrambling. Since I've already got it light and fluffy, we're going to go ahead and bring it right here onto the warmth. Now I have to whisk, 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 whisk while we chat. I don't know if I can see the chat from here, but it's important that we keep whisking. And what you're going to notice is that at some point here, as we whisk, this is going to get thickened again. It's going to change in texture and in the visual look of it. And that's when you start adding your butter. If this was a traditional Eggs Benedict hollandaise, we would be using melted butter, and we would start slowly trickling it in. Now, this is not, and I'm just checking my bowl. So this is an Eggs Royale hollandaise, which means we use cold butter. So it takes a little bit more time, and you do 1 dollop of the butter at a time because it has to melt. And so it actually results in a slightly fluffier hollandaise. And that's what we're looking for with the eggs Royale. So you might be wondering now, because I've said eggs Royale like 10,000 times. Eggs Royale is a slightly, let me make an adjustment here, sturdier. It's a take on Eggs Benedict, but instead of the Canadian bacon, it's smoked salmon. There are all kinds of variations. If you ever have one that's the English muffin that has the spinach and then the poached egg and then the hollandaise, that would be eggs Florentine. If you have smoked salmon and the spinach greens, that's another variation. We'll get into that. We'll talk a little more. I'm just going to keep adding my little dabs of butter. As they melt, you dump one in. Hollandaise is a ratio. For every yolk you use, you need at least a tablespoon of butter. Oh, and Carrie says there's a Bond movie with eggs Royale. That's totally cool. I didn't know that, and I love Bond movies. Let's see. I'm trying to see. I can't see from here to the chat and stir at the same time. But, so like I said, so now you can see we've got our muffin, our egg, and our sauce. And I'm going to put a cloth here so when I'm ready to set my sauce down, it doesn't get on my cloth, the moisture from the dish. Oh, Carrie says he likes my whisk. Yeah, this is one of my favorite whisks. I love it. It whips everything so nicely. It's, yeah, I might actually, even afterwards, I might add a link to this kind of whisk in the comments, because I really think that you guys would be very surprised at how nice it is. And then you also want to keep an eye on your heat, so you make sure that you are keeping your hollandaise saucy and not overheating it and making it into scrambled eggs. So the other thing that can happen is you can accidentally over thicken it, in which case I'll show you. All you have to do is add your hot water to it. I've kept my water at temperature, so just in case, if we need to. I like a good thick sauce though, so I'm not too worried about it. I like it to be extra nice and thick. And at some point, I'll just dump the rest of the butter in, but not yet. It's almost there. But see, this is why I tell people, there's always all this talk, even like on cooking shows, where they're like, oh my God, hollandaise is so scary. It's so easy to screw up. Look, you guys, I'm talking on our live stream, throwing butter, flinging it around, barely paying attention, as long as I keep it moving, and it's going to be gorgeous. Hollandaise is super easy. They are wrong when they say it's hard. They just make such a big deal out of it, and there's really no need. Really, it's just low heat, double boiler, and just taking your time and not being impatient. What makes it happen that it scrambles is that people don't beat the eggs enough before they put it on the heat, and then you have too much heat. It's always better to err on the side of not quite enough and need to bump it just a teensy bit at a time than to have not enough. So, and there's the rest of my butter. I'm just going to whisk that in. And in fact, now I can turn my heat completely off. We won't need it again. My sauce is like super thick. We can just take it off, bring it over here, and give it another fast to get that last little bit of butter incorporated. And voila. So there you can see, look how thick that is, but it is entirely smooth. There is not a scrambled egg lump to be seen. And if that is too thick for you, then that is up to you. But if it is too thick, at this point is where you can add a little bit more of your hot water and just thin it down just a smidge. And I think I will. But the important thing is just keep it whisking so that you don't scramble it. And it'll be just like you did with the, there, it was like maybe not even a full teaspoon of water. And we've thinned it down to a pourable sauce. And that's it. Look at that. We're not even, it took us minutes. Big whoop. So the next thing we're going to do is our assembly of the Benedict. I'm going to take my buns here. And now we're going to take the smoked salmon. I got the kind from Costco. You guys, I know farmed fish is not the greatest, but that's what I was able to get. And it is what it is. And this is imported Norwegian. I really love the taste. Life's too short to be overly picky. Anyways, I'm going to put my salmon down. I love smoked salmon. It's just delightful to me. In fact, I love it so much that I will have this dish again in the morning. And maybe I'll be a little generous here. It is my Sunday night live stream. We can eat as much salmon as we want, right? Now, so you put your salmon down. Just a little bit more, right? Let's do it. In theory, you'd be nice and you would peel it up proper and get your nice little wafery flakes, but we're not going to do that. We're far too involved. Let's see. Take my towel, wipe my fingers. Set this aside. And now you know why we needed the spatula. Just give me a second to get the extra sauce out of my whisk. And like I said, this is I'm going to thin it just a smidge more because it is intensely thick. Make sure I've got it. There we go. So, by the way, and that's also how you save your sauce. If it starts to split very, very quickly, get a little bit of that hot liquid in there and whisk your life away with it. And that will, you'll have a 50% chance of completely saving it. So, that's one of those good to know things. All right. That's right. You handle your egg with your hand. So that's it. We're going to set it right on top. And now we bring our awesome, amazing sauce. What did I tell you? Perfect. I know, that's like way more sauce than anybody needs. I love hollandaise. Most people would use like half that. Nah. That's my fat for the night. I'm eating it. So, I'll need that fork though. Let me set my salmon over here. I ran out of room on my little dish tray. All right, let's read some comments and let's talk a little bit more about this coffee. So, oh wow, yeah, I lost some stuff here earlier with my reboot. Terrible. Goodness gracious, my computer is so flaky right now. But anyway, so an exchange student 2 has joined us. So, see, oh, they said the Kroger had the deaf coffee pods on markdown lately. Oh, ours did not. Our Kroger is high priced on everything. So, oh, and Carrie says all of the extra sauce looks great. So, yes, like I said, I love it. And I also agree. So, let's see. Oh, I told you the greens was eggs Florentine. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. all of the things that I'd like to tell you. Okay, now this rested, let's try the coffee again. Yeah, it's not good. If you, Attila says it's safe to say we lost the Roasty Bud sponsorship. Lucky for us, they didn't really sponsor me. They sent me one bag of coffee. You're right. They're probably not sending me nothing else, but that's okay. I don't really want something else. So, all right, let's dig in. Unfortunately, I buried this in so much sauce, you're not going to get to see how awesome the egg is. Well, maybe. Well, probably not. Let me bring it up to the camera. I don't know if we'll be able to see or not. Let's see. Let me flip over so I can also see. Maybe. Oh, no. It's not quite. There's too much light there, but you can see the yolk in the middle leaking out, so it's a start. There's our eggs Royale. I'm coming back around. I just dropped my fork. And got it all over. Let's see. Well, I tried. That's not working for me. I dropped my fork on my desk and got some on the laptop. Maybe we won't do that again. Oh well. Let's see. Hungry Heath. Oh, well, tell us what you really think. What? About, I tried. You know what? I really gave it, I think, every chance and every opportunity. And I'm still going to drink it because it's not good. I don't know if I'll drink the whole cup. But I went through all the trouble of everything, so. Oh my God. So good and worth every bit of indulgence. So, every single penny for the smoked salmon, which I will enjoy over the next couple days. Oh, Brenda, and Jen, that's a great idea. I could probably whip some butter into that, although I'm eating 4 tablespoons of butter right now. I don't know if I want more butter. And Hungry Heath, actually, no, I do not. But if you guys like the green one, I'll send you guys the rest of this one. So, oh, guys, I got sauce everywhere when I dropped my fork. It's on my sleeve. Oh well, it wouldn't be this live stream if I didn't do something completely uncoordinated. I need to cut the bread with a knife a little bit. I toasted it up just a little bit beforehand. I'm telling you guys. Really good, really good. So, Heath, that's a good idea. Actually, I think to this flavor of the coffee ground up, you know what? It might be good in seasoning. Let me try it. I have a couple not so great steaks left, like a cheap chuck steak. Maybe I will. I'll try it. I'll mix it into a rub and try that out. That's always. So, and Renee's asking what I end up doing with coffee that I just don't like. I let other people try it, and if they like it, I give them to it, and if not, I just sort of tough it out and drink it. Oh, and then Carrie says also you can use the coffee as fertilizer because bugs don't like the coffee smell. That's true, and it's actually good for the ground, so it's nice to replenish things. So we'll see. And Oh, exchange student 2 says she doesn't know if they've had a poached egg before, that their family in New Zealand made them often, but doesn't remember eating them. Yeah, and it's easy to get poached eggs that are unpleasant texturally. So it's really important that you practice a fair bit to get it just the way you want it. But like I said, that's why I really like adding the vinegar. It pulls it in tight, helps it keep form, all of that fun stuff. Oh, and I remember from earlier when I said if it has whole smoked salmon and sausage, it was another type of eggs Benedict. Eggs Hemingway. Eggs Hemingway is both. Yeah, and Hungry He said we could throw it on a brisket, throw it on the chuck roast and smoke it like a brisket. Yeah, but we just did that with our chuck roast. I don't have any more chuck roast. I just have like a couple of the little chuck steaks. So, and that's fine. But if it works as a rub on the cheap steaks, then I would be willing to use it on the pork loin when we reintroduce it. I have a giant pork loin that I'm going to put in the fridge on Thanksgiving Day to start thawing. And then a few days later is when I'm going to reintroduce the pork. And that will be, so it'll be a good test. Let's see. Oh, Hungry He says he poached some eggs in the Instant Pot by mistake once. How do you do that by mistake? I'm just curious. Oh, and Jen said she tried some of the Bones cranberry brulee coffee last night and had to pour it out because it was gross. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't like it. Um, I am not the biggest flavored coffee fan, so I tried a lot of Bones coffee and I didn't like most of it, but I found that I did like the carrot cake Bones coffee. It was mostly a little bit spiced versus having carrot cake flavor. And so I was able to drink that one. At the time, they were testing out their holy cannoli flavor and sent it unidentified and expected people to just try it. And I tried it, and let me tell you, it was so not okay for me. It tasted like rotten dairy, and that was one, like, I just couldn't. And that one I did just discard. I try not to, but man, it was no good. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I've done that before. Oh, Attila, that was a bad joke, but also funny. So, but it does remind me to talk to you guys a little bit about the Eggs Benedict or any of these other egg variants. Uh, you should know that Eggs Benedict, despite sounding fancy and French-like, is an American dish. Um, mm, oh, so good. And I say it's an American dish. There is some controversy about whether it truly is or whether it is German in origins. However, while it's an American dish, people will fight about that origin as to who came up with it first. The most popular story is that there was a stockbroker in the 1940s, and I can't remember his name, but the legend goes that he was at the Waldorf Astoria, and trying to get a hangover cure, and he asked for buttered toast with poached egg and crispy bacon, and then hollandaise. And apparently, at that point, then the maitre d' was so excited about the dish, but he substituted ham for the bacon and used the English muffin, and thus the Eggs Benedict was born. That's one of the urban legends of the Eggs Benedict. And of course, though, New York Times published in the 1960s that Craig Claiborne wrote a letter wrote a letter about having received information from someone else. Okay, my chat has jumped all over. Give me a minute. Okay, evidently. Okay, so here we are back at the cranberry brulee coffee. Oh, okay, so he says he was trying to do hard-boiled eggs, but set it to warm instead of the, okay, that makes sense now. Some information back and forth. Carrie sharing about his journey and also how it was impacting him. So that's good. And then Hungry, he says he thought Benedict Arnold invented Eggs Benedict. No, that was just his name. So, oh yeah, so anyways, Craig Claiborne got a letter. I can't remember from who, but it was an American living in France, and he said that the Eggs Benedict was created by another person whose name was Benedict. Again, with the a banker named Benedict. So, seems tied to money somehow. Probably because the ingredients are so extensive. So, but again, still right back to the New York, because here we are with the New York Times. So, and of course, once you get into the New York Times, also said that it was created at the Claiborne, which is another fancy pants place. So lots and lots of stories about it. Oh, an exchange student too is complimenting the hollandaise. Thank you. It's really, really good. And I'll say having the smoked salmon really fancies it up. So I can't be sad about it in any way, shape, or form. But regardless of how it came to be, it's really, it inspires a lot of cooking. Oh, and the other thing is a lot of people like to say that it was named after Pope Benedict, but I suppose that could be true, but I like the Waldorf Astoria story better. Just my preference. I have no room or any way to say which one is fact, just a bunch of urban legends. But I will tell you, I like to eat it. I like to eat all of the Benedict dishes. I don't care if it's eggs Florentine. I don't care if it is some random variation. Honestly, if it has hollandaise sauce on it, most likely I like to eat it. Hollandaise is my very favorite of all the mother sauces. As much as I love cheese, I like hollandaise more than I like cheese sauce, and that says quite a lot to me. Let's see if the fatty sauce helped it. Sometimes your food helps coffee. Oh, no, it's not. Roasty buds is just not the coffee for me. Oh, exchange student 2 says their family cooked burger and then lasagna, and the burger just didn't smell right. I've had that happen. Where something, everyone else thinks it's fantastic, and I have just like whatever it was, just something about it, like my stomach said like nope, and my nose was like absolutely not. So who knows what it is. Oh, and Mary mentions that she likes béarnaise sauce on steak with mushrooms. Oh yes, I also love béarnaise on steak. We have a fancy restaurant here that makes béarnaise as a side to the steak, and they make everything from scratch. Now, I don't hold it against them that I got food poisoning there, so I won't say their names because, first of all, they are beside themselves. Second of all, they believe it was the commercial lettuce. My doctor is very sure that it was the lettuce. So, I don't hold that against them because that's a very common thing. Lettuce is very prone to uh, uh, E. coli and other foodborne problems, bacterium. So, see, just another reason not to eat too many vegetables. I love my vegetables. I joke, but mm. Oh, Exchange Student 2 says actually the reason it probably just wasn't sitting there was because they had roast and leftover beef tenderloin for lunch. Yeah, you also could just not be hungry, and that might be a signal. I'm taking another great big old bite, you guys. Mm. So, also, that's not my napkin. Next week we'll do the coffee tasting. I don't know if we'll do a recipe because tastings can take some time. But even if we don't cook one, I'll bring a snack and we can talk about it. Just a little palate cleanser to go with it. And I'll talk you through it. Maybe even I'll just bring some of these buns and talk you through my method with it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't thought it all the way through. But you do want a little bit of a citrusy water and something just to go between your tastings so it's not one after the other. Usually water is good, though. Which, by the way, it's my water with lemon. And Carrie says there will be lots of slurping for that coffee tasting. Yes, there will be. That's the best part. Like I said, I'm a pro. I'm proudly in favor of lots of slurping for everything. So, the only out of the coffees people suggested, the only one that I don't have in hand right now is the Dunkin' Donuts. And part of that is I just have to convince myself that I'm willing to spend that much on it. Because I went to the grocery and I thought that it was supposed to be on sale. And technically it is on sale. But a small bag was like $14. I'm pretty sure the Kroger is gouging on that. Because people love to buy Dunkin' coffee. And I don't love to buy Dunkin' coffee. And it was more than twice the cost of pretty much all of the other coffees. So I know, but I'm going to try a couple other stores first before I'm willing to spend the money for it. Oh, the Dunkin' Donuts Turbo. You know what? It was just regular original Dunkin' Donuts. It wasn't turbo nothing. It was just regular original. Oh, and Brenda says Myers has it for $6.99. I'll double check it there. I didn't find it at our Myers, but I can go to the one in the next township over. Sometimes ours is out of stock of things because it's a real popular Myers. So I'll double check that. Like I said, I'm not against it. I was totally against paying like $13.75 for a tiny bag of Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Like that's ridiculous. I could buy like, a pretty fancy brand for that. So I just couldn't do it. I couldn't push the buttons. So, but I do have a Pete's coffee, and I did get the Starbucks coffee. I did get the McDonald's coffee. I got a Cameron coffee. I can't remember what else I got. I got something else too. Oh, Renee says Turbo is the only blend they somewhat care for, and Walmart stocks it. Yeah. Like I said, we'll be, I'm gonna have assistance in. I will grind the coffees and then pass it off in their little serving containers to get labeled. So it'll be a fair tasting, and so we'll know where I really truly lie. I did make an executive decision not to include the Bustelo in this tasting. And all the reasons I say that are the same reasons that I said it shouldn't have been part of the regular in the first place, and that is because it is espresso grind, which requires a different brew. It would much benefit from the mocha pot, So I feel like it's unfair to put it in with regular grind of a 3 because it impacts the flavor. So I don't know. And if people leave in the comments that they want me to go ahead and pull it in anyways, I'll do it. But that was my opinion. And I'd love for you guys to go ahead and add in the comments after this post tomorrow to see what we think. Oh, Renee says, and we all know Bustelo is a good one anyway. I agree. It's definitely different. It's not coffee. It's espresso grind. So that's part of the thing. And take a pause and just keep eating there. So, anyways. Oh, Carrie, that's a good one. So, I should hire you to make my Cheese Friday jokes. So, does anybody have anything else for tonight? More questions about the sauce or the preparation? Oh, and Renee says Bustelo is her daily brew of choice. We use Bustelo every morning for our double shot, and I do love it. And it's really good regular. Oh yeah, the other coffee was the Folgers. I don't remember if I picked up. Oh yeah, I got the Folgers. You guys. I'm gonna drink the Folgers for you. I'm not gonna drink the Roasty Buds anymore. I almost took a drink and I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'll tell you, I'll drink plain old Kroger coffee without any whining or complaining. So I have to say I have a high tolerance for bad coffees. So when I say I don't like it, I really feel that it's not good. I wouldn't mind someone else tasting it. No. See, I keep tasting it in case it changes or adjusts or... So I'm just going to say I don't like it. I can see a lot of other people liking the flavor. To me, it's very sour, which is often a taste that I associate with bad brew method. But we didn't do a bad brew method. We also recognize that even though it is my standard brew method, that it had a faster drawdown. It smells grassy in the bag. I think that it's just not a coffee for me. Yep, I will drink it. I mean, I pretty much believe that I hate Folgers. So I will be very surprised that if I don't immediately wash it out of the tasting and say that's nasty. So I find Folgers to be very harsh. In fact, that's what this reminds me of. I'm just saying. Oh, Exchange Student 2 is saying she wonders how much it is at an actual Dunkin' store. That's a good question. We actually have one down the road. I haven't been in there in so long. I don't like it from the Dunkin' store, but I've never had the home version. So I'm very interested because maybe I'll like it with with the controlled temperature and everything. So anyways, guys, I'm super glad that you took some time to spend the evening with me. But we are at that 7:30 mark. And I'm going to go finish this. And I'm probably going to peel off a little bit more of that smoked salmon because it's delightful. And I have 2 packets of it because it comes in 2 from Costco. So I hope that you are having an awesome, awesome Sunday. Let's get basic. Renee's asking me if this is worse than the white coffee. Actually, I will drink the white coffee. So yes, I would consider this worse than the white coffee. The white coffee was just weird. I didn't hate it. It was just weird. Weird doesn't have to be bad. I definitely thought the white coffee was very vegetable reminiscent, but it was something that I could drink if I wasn't trying to taste coffee. And I did very much think the white coffee could have a little pinch of sweetener and become very green tea like. So I don't have an issue with the white coffee. It just was not my favorite, and I'd rather have green tea. Hey Jennifer, uh, glad to see you tonight. Just as we're getting ready to head out, and thanks for joining, Carrie. I always enjoy your awesome jokes. So earthy, yes, earthy is a good way to put it. But the white coffee, I just didn't. And I'll just tell you, this just tastes bad. It's very sour, and I don't like it. So, all right. Well, good night, everyone. I'll see you guys later. I'm heading out to finish up my meal. Good night. Ooh, I look forward to seeing pictures of your mushroom gravy, Mary. I'll see you guys.